Good afternoon, my fellow God-loving American patriots. Welcome to this week's uncensored, unfiltered edition of Holy and Patriotic Jamabaly. My name's John Swisher, and my guest co-host this week from LibertyorLockdown, Martha Huckabee.
Hello, hello, hello.
Cajun Buccaneer, you there? Ready for the prayer and pledge?
Yes, I am. Our Father, which art in heaven, holy, holy, holy is thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all forms of evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever and ever. Amen. We pledge allegiance to the people of the United States of America, the Republic, we're a republic, for which we all stand, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, listen, do you happen to have Marsha's telephone number? Because I lost your telephone number.
I'll have to look it up.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk about that offline. It's a blessed day. It's a blessed day. We appreciate the prayer. And this is Holy and Patriotic Jambalaya. So, John, go ahead with the monologue.
Okay. Obama's influential transformation is evident in the Biden criminal enterprise and in Kamala Harris's campaign for president. Barack Obama, along with his wife, gay partner Michelle or Michael, in his speech during the DNC, all they ever talked about is race and defeating Donald Trump. You never heard anything about reducing inflation nor improving the American quality of life from these agents of Lucifer. Obama did keep one promise he made: the transformation of America from a Judeo-Christian nation to a trans-Muslim nation.
100%.
Yes, rewarding criminal and sinful behavior that is against God, but he's punished both Christian and patriotic behavior. More or less, bad is good, good is bad. Barack Obama had the chance to do something real different, like bringing everyone together, but instead, Obama divided the nation with his brand of racism, and his quote-unquote wife, Michael, is no better. Upon his first term as president, Michelle Obama quoted, "For the first time, I'm proud to be an American." Obama, in his third term, is really trying to transform America into what America isn't supposed to be. Do I dislike him for his color? No. I dislike him for what kind of person he really is. And color has nothing to do with it. God, family, and country.
Isn't that the truth? He's the race hustler. He's the race baiter. Everything about him is the divider. He's the king of dividers. He's even divided what the covenant between a man and a wife is. It's all Obama.
Yes. Okay. Our guest for this show this week is Scott McKay, publisher and editor of the Hayride, and also author of the book Racism, Revenge, and Ruin. It's all Obama. Good afternoon, Scott.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, and John's been reading your book, and this is Martha, by the way. How are you doing?
Hey, Martha, how are you?
Good. And so give us a little insight into the book Racism, Revenge, and Ruin.
Well, I wrote this thing last year, and it's percolated quite a bit. Obama is, and I don't like saying this, but he's the most consequential political figure in America over the last 20 years, or probably of this century. And that has coincided with what has been a fairly steep decline, particularly since 2008, that this country has seen. We're fiscally, very close to being in a situation where this country is not going to be able to meet its obligations. It's certainly not going to be able to meet its obligations on the world stage. You're looking at a diminished quality of life for the American people on a host of subjects, whether, from health to personal finance to mental health to, the ability to generate net worth. The average American is greatly less well off than at the beginning of this century, from the standpoint of what things cost and how you can leverage a salary to get ahead in the world. All of that is gone. Culturally, we are in a terrible, terrible position right now, and that's accelerating. Although I think people have finally started to wake up to that. And Obama was the leading agent in producing that decline. The 8 years where he was president, a lot of people didn't give Obama the credit that he deserved for the impact he made on the country. Most people would look at Obama's 8 years in office and conclude, well, he was a pretty mediocre president, didn't really accomplish that much legislatively. It was pretty much Obamacare and not much else. He didn't really do a lot of landmark things as president. And that judgment misses the vast majority of what Obama did accomplish, because you have to look at his term as president in terms of not just politics, but culture and economics as well. And on every front, his administration and the people around him, his supporters, whether it's in Hollywood, corporate America, academia, and so forth, this sort of hard left cabal that is now firmly in control of the country, made massive, massive changes to this country. And, the book goes into sort of a chapter and verse of all of those changes and how catastrophic they've been and how none of this was an accident. This is all intentional. I go very deeply into Obama's background so that you can understand, where he came from and why these things were put in place, and the agenda that they were put in place to serve.
Absolutely. It's definitely planned. Yes.
I read the book, Scott, and he hasn't accomplished anything really. And like all he ever was a community organizer, teaching people how to scam the system. Am I correct on that?
This guy never made a widget. He never performed a service in the marketplace that anybody wanted. His entire adult life and career was spent in pursuit of power. As a community organizer, that is an endless pursuit of power, even maybe more intensively than politics is, because as a community organizer, what you're doing is trying to leverage a group of angry people so that you can extort things from, your intended victims, whether those are, corporate entities, whether it's the local city council, whether it's the cops or whatever it might be. I mean, that's what Obama did as a community organizer in Chicago. And we get into this in the book. What turned him on to being that when he was in college at Columbia was he went to this convention at Cooper Union that was the Democratic Socialists of America. And the entire thing was about, we're going to use community organizing to take over the country and turn it into a socialist.
Scott, hold that thought.
Model.
We got to go to a break. Stay with us. You're listening to Holy Patriotic Jamabaly radio show on WGSO. Call the at Cost Metals talk line 504-556-9696. We'll be right back.
new revelation. Prime time, anytime, pay the bailiff for your crime. Don't lose your concentration. No, no, no. I don't want to be crucified.
Hey everybody, this is Mike from the Holy and Patriotic Jamabaly Show. If you need to convert your existing bathtub into a step-in shower, call my friends at A New Beginning Refinishing. They can repair and refinish any type of bathtub or shower, no matter the size of the repair. A New Beginning Refinishing has been using a new high-gloss casting porcelain coating, guaranteed to never peel. They also offer a unique service called the Tub Cut, which is a fraction of the cost of replacement, and adding a grab bar installation and a slip-resistant surface helps to improve accessibility, reduce accidents, and helps people remain in their home as long as possible. Call A New Beginning Refinishing, LLC for a free estimate at 985-279-5103 or visit their website at www.anewbeginningrefinishing.com. Or you can visit their showroom in Hollycrest Plaza at 600 North Highway 190, Suite 2 in Covington. That's A New Beginning Refinishing, LLC at 985-279-5103.
Hello, Christian Patriots. Want to invest in gold and silver at cost? Well, you've come to the right place. At Cost Metals. At costmetals.com, you can purchase gold and silver at much lower prices than the leading metals exchanges. Call 985-469-1188 or email huck@wgso.com or flamingconservative@wgso.com. And right now, At Cost Metals has a new coin, the Trump assassination coin. You do not want to miss this coin. At costmetals.com.
Join me, Mitch Gibbs, host of Breakfast with the Bayou Bengals, in our 10th season, talking LSU Tiger football every Saturday morning live from 9 to 11 at the Silver Slipper Casino in beautiful Bay St. Louis, Mississippi on the Gulf Coast. The 2024 season expectations are very high, so join me every Saturday morning live on WGSO Radio.
Tired of placing multiple calls to multiple vendors and getting the runaround? Turn to one resource who can get it done. Sir Speedy. We provide a wide spectrum of print, signs, and marketing services, all backed by more than 5 decades of experience. So when you need that new brochure, direct marketing campaign, or signage to promote your brand, give us a call at 504-586-9812 or visit us online at sirspeedyneworleans.com. Everything you need, one resource, Sir Speedy.
Don't get stuck in boring talk radio. Give it a much-needed splash of laughs and a little Southern Louisiana flavor with Implicit Bias Radio. I'm Kavan Bordelon. Join the crew and I each Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. as we give our thoughts on what's going down around the country. We'll crack open a fresh bottle of whiskey each week as we talk about what's swirling around in our heads and in the glasses. The Implicit Bias Radio Show, every Saturday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on WGSO 990 AM.
Welcome back, Holy and Patriotic Jamabaly. John Swisher here with my guest co-host, Martha Huckabee from Liberty or Lockdown.
All right, so let's pick up where we left off.
Okay, Scott.
Yeah.
Well, where did we leave off? My brain just left me just now. What were we talking about when we went on break?
Well, I mean, we've been talking about Obama.
I know that. The specific topic.
And the
Cooper
the
Union
effect
with,
that he's had on the country, but
you're talking about Cooper Union.
Yes, thank you. Cooper Union.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Essentially the Democratic Socialists of America, which is still around. Obviously, that's the squad in Congress.
Yes.
It's also Devontae Lewis here in Louisiana as a member of that. These guys are about using community organizing to bring about the socialist revolution in this country. And it's a cultural Marxist type of model that Obama has. The first thing Obama did, and he did it between 2004 and 2008, was to transform the Democrat Party into the vehicle to do just that. I mean, this is the reason why And really on the right side of the fence, what we need to do is stop using the term liberals to castigate the left, because, especially after Friday with RFK Jr. joining Trump's team, like, that's a liberal. Okay. Yeah. And we need to stop calling these people liberals, because they left the liberals behind when Obama came to the forefront. These guys are, the best way to describe these people are they're Maoists, in that they're not communists of the Soviet stripe where it's all chiefly about economics with these guys. They're cultural Marxists. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the sort of the woke phenomenon in this country, is very similar to the cultural revolution that took place in China. But all of this is, this is left-wing doctrine that has been around for a very long time, and Obama marinated in it from the when he was knee-high to a grasshopper all the way up, and then brought it into the Democrat Party, and then of course he got elected and has been, the power behind the throne ever since he left office. Even when Trump was president for 4 years. And I've got a piece at the American Spectator this week talking about this. Trump's barely running for re-election because for 4 years, he basically was stymied by this cabal that was left behind when Obama left office. And from the Russia hoax to, the Ukraine impeachment to, the way he was sabotaged during COVID, to the Hunter Biden laptop thing with the intelligence community spooks that, outright lied and said that was Russian disinformation. Like, you had these people in the government that were essentially practicing a coup d'etat against a duly elected American president for 4 years. And Trump, had never been in politics before and really didn't understand the depth of what he was getting into when he got elected in 2020. Right. So, it's been 16 years of the Democrat Party, a very hard left, anti-American Democrat Party that, has been really at war with this country as founded. And at this point, they're at war with the truth, because if you watched that convention in Chicago last week, and I regret to inform your listeners that I did, because it was not fun to do that. All I saw was one speaker after another telling provable, obvious, knowing lies about their performance in office, their aims in office, economics, and pretty much everything else. They've euphemized practically everything in their arsenal. Abortion is reproductive health care. Transgenderism is gender affirming care. It's bizarre.
It is bizarre
in ways that, 20 years ago, you could never get away with, because people would laugh you out of something. Tim Walz, 20 years ago, had he, presented himself as a vice presidential candidate, would have been laughed out of school. And, just consider 2004, the Democrats' VP nominee that year was John Edwards, who essentially got thrown out of the party when Obama came along, because John Edwards was kind of like a John Bro Democrat. And, some of the things that John Edwards ran on when he was a presidential, this guy was a, kind of an old school ambulance chasing trial attorney. Okay. But the things that he talked about were actually fairly prescient. If you remember, John Edwards went around talking about we've got two Americas, and essentially, decried the fact that there was a ruling class and a country class in this country. Now, that is absolutely 100% the message of Team Trump. John Edwards is nowhere to be found in the Democrat Party anymore. So that should give you a really good indication of how far this thing has gone in the last 20 years. You go from John Edwards to Tim Walz, who's taken 30 trips to China, none of which he paid for, right? and it should really it's a stark change that you've seen. And Kamala Harris's political career is I'm not going to say solely due to Obama's influence, but the fact that she's a national political figure rather than a very minor senator from California is absolutely on Obama. Obama and his people were the ones that got behind Kamala at the very beginning of her campaign in 2019. And I mean, they loaded her up with money and wound her up and set her off, not realizing how badly she was going to tank once the public got a hold of her.
She advanced by doing dirty things, the nasty. She didn't get advanced by merit.
No, that's correct. And that is, I'll put it to you like this. In every anti-democratic or anti-constitutional political organization, whether it's the Ba'ath Party in Iraq or the Communist Party of the Soviet Union or China or, the mob, I mean, like any bad guy organization that you can find, what will get you ahead in that organization is always that you're willing to do the awful things that nobody else is willing to do, right? Like that's the reason Joseph Stalin ended up taking over for Lenin and Trotsky was not that guy, because Stalin was willing to do the stuff that Trotsky wasn't. He wasn't smarter than Trotsky. He wasn't ideologically as pure.
Hey,
as
Scott,
Trotsky.
Hold that thought. We got to go to a break again. We want you to stay on. You listen to Holy Patriotic Jamabaly with my guest co-host, Martha Huckabee from Liberty or Lockdown.
Hey, it's Kevin Carr with your personal sneak preview invitation to join me on Sunday evening from 8 to 9 for Fat Guys at the Movies. Each week, I give you my take on the newest movies and movie news, but in a fun way. Not like those stuffy movie review snobs who take themselves way too seriously. I tell you if the new movies rock or not. Yes, it's fun for all ages with Fat Guys at the Movies. I'll see you Sunday evening at 8 on WGSO 990 AM.
Hello, Christian Patriots. Want to invest in gold and silver at cost? Well, you've come to the right place. At Cost Metals, at costmetals.com. You can purchase gold and silver at much lower prices than the leading metals exchanges. Call 985-469-1188 or email huck@wgso.com or flamingconservative@wgso.com. And right now, at Cost Metals has a new coin, the Trump assassination coin. You do not want to miss this coin at costmetals.com.
We rage for the team.
The ball's loose. The Cajuns have it.
We rage for the brotherhood.
Great catch. Got a foot down.
We rage for the culture.
80 yards. Touchdown, Louisiana.
Join us Saturday, August 31st. The Ragin' Cajuns kick off the season against Grambling. Our coverage begins at 6 on your home for Louisiana football.
The community voice of the Crescent City, WGSO 990 AM.
Hey, this is BJ Russ. Make sure you join me every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show right here on WGSO 990 AM. We'll be on from 7 to 8 p.m. We'll talk sports, music, movies, and pretty much anything in between. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM. That's the place to be. And don't forget that you can listen to us on WGSO.com and on the Mixlr app.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Colleen Crane. A new report from the Public Affairs Research Council shows around 60% of Louisiana high school seniors are applying for college financial aid this year, a 10% drop from last year. Stephen Procopio with PAR.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the sort of rollout of the new FAFSA form that the federal government is working on. I think that was probably a lot of it.
The report goes on to say around 92% of parish public school districts saw fewer seniors completing FAFSA by June 28th compared to last year. Mother Nature could be putting a damper on the holiday weekend in South Louisiana. Chanel Stigger is a forecaster with the National Weather Service in Lake Charles.
It's going to be a unfortunately wet weekend. Anything that you guys want to do outside might not be as fun with kind of the overcast skies and showers.
But she says when the rain's not falling, it will actually be quite pleasant to be outside with highs in the mid-80s to low 90s. LRN.
Parents and guardians, you can still receive summer grocery money through the Louisiana Sunbucks program. The Louisiana Sunbucks program will provide eligible families with an extra $120 per child to buy food. Families will receive a Sunbucks EBT card in the mail that can be used to buy food at retailers that accept SNAP benefits. Time is running out, so please visit sunbucks.la.gov to see if you're eligible to apply. Applications close on September 20th.
I'm Cleo Fields. I'm a local attorney. I work and live in Baton Rouge, so I know this community. For a free consultation, call 225-343-5377 or visit tcmlawoffice.com.
Responsible attorney, John Carpenter, Baton Rouge, LA 2315065. Tiger Rag Magazine subscribers are LSU fans in the know. Tiger Rag Magazine gives you exclusive stories, beautiful pictures, and behind-the-scenes insights. Subscribe today and be in the know at tigerrag.com.
I'm Ference Toth, host of the Your Personal Bank Show. I use common sense as an entrepreneur, financial literacy educator, and speaker to understand how current events affect our money, economy, and our freedom. Grow your money safely, reduce taxes, increase returns, and create positive arbitrage with Your Personal Bank. Tune in to the Your Personal Bank Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. or contact Ference at yourpersonalbank.com. The Your Personal Bank Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on WGSO.
Hello, this is Jack Clegg. I want to
990
thank
AM,
all
New
my
Orleans.
listeners and the support I get here at WGSO for making our program, The Jack Clegg Show, successful. Along with that success has come a change in time zones. No, we're not moving to the Pacific time zone, but we are changing the time of our show. Now, for the immediate future, we'll be 11 a.m. to noon on Tuesday and Thursday. Callers are welcome. That's a Jack Clegg Show at 11 a.m. to noon. Thanks for listening.
Get up early on Saturdays and talk LSU athletics with us. Tiger Rag Radio every Saturday morning, 5 to 7 on WGSO, the community voice of the Crescent City.
When the time came, I knew I had to find a place where Mom would be safe and active while still feeling independent. A place that was close to all of us and everything she needed. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Gonzales, I found Francois Ben's Senior Living. They specialize in independent and assisted living and memory care.
Call 225-647-BEND for more information on our special pre-leasing offers.
Francois Ben's Senior Living. Experience life as it should be.
You might be afraid to speak out for fear of cancel culture or losing your job. Christian Garrick Show on WGSO is your platform. Noon to 2, weekdays, right here on 990 AM WGSO.
Ron Richardson is here to tell you that you should tune into my show, Conversations with Ron Richardson, every Saturday afternoon from 1 p.m. until 2 p.m. right here on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com.
Welcome back, Holy Patriotic Jamabaly. Call the At Call Metals Talk Line 504-556-9696 with my special guest, Martha Huckabee from Liberty Lockdown. And we have Scott McKay, author of Racism, Revenge, and Ruin. Okay, Scott, I read in the book, what about the stimulus package during Obama's first couple of months in office?
Well, it was a lot of money, that's for sure. And it was supposed to juice the economy. It didn't. What it did was to bankroll public employee unions and state and local governments at the expense of the economy. And, we basically went 8 years with Obama in office without, really having much of either a recession or a recovery. We just kind of had economic stasis, so much so that, the joke was that he had outlawed the business cycle in America. Much of what was done with that stimulus and some of the other legislative packages that he was able to pass and a ton of what he was able to do with executive orders was to put in place something that, and I talk about this in the book, he had this dinner in the spring of 2009 with a whole bunch of, historians, left-wing historians, the Michael Beschlosses and the Doris Kearns Goodwins of the world. And at this, and, of course, this was a dinner for all these people to basically tell Obama how great he was. But at this dinner, he goes and he tells these people that the model that he was looking for as an economy was that, it would be a lot of the big incumbent players in each economic sector getting together with government bureaucrats and the unions, and some other quote unquote stakeholders, like, for example, the environmental groups and things like that. And they would decide how to run the economy. There's a little bit of New Deal in that, but the real genesis of that came from the Italian fascists. That's basically an old school fascist economy, which is, big business and big government getting together and essentially divvying up the pie amongst themselves, which doesn't leave a whole lot of room for small and mid-sized businesses to innovate and to change the market and to increase the productivity of the economy. And, so that's what you had. And what you also had, and if you'll remember, in the early 2010s, and maybe a little bit before that, the absolute word that everybody was using in the business world was disruption, right? You had companies like Uber coming along and disrupting the taxi industry. You had all of these, kind of sharing economy apps and all of these different things. And some of that stuff actually penetrated the economy and made change. But at the time, we were looking at, you were going to have a complete changeover of the economy. And all of the economic and business assumptions that were out there, whether it was in media or, like any other economic sector, those things, like everything was subject to change. And within the space of 2 or 3 years, by the end of Obama's first term, that was all gone. And instead, the big trend that you had in corporate America and in the business world was woke corporations. It wasn't, a disruption of upstarts in the economy, shaking the foundations of all of these different economic sectors. It was retrenchment of, major corporations that were now going to be woke and were going to embrace things like ESG and DEI, which, they didn't start calling ESG and DEI until a little bit later, but the policies that these companies were engaging in were certainly already being set in stone by, say, 2014 or 2015. So, he completely changed the course of our economics by use of, all kinds of things, whether it was regulatory stuff, some legislative stuff, and even just the bully pulpit and threats that he made against people. And it really sort of, I think, derailed our economy until Trump came along. And then we've gone basically right back to the same old thing during Biden's years.
I think he's running Biden's administration. What's your opinion, Martha?
No, I agree with you. It's obvious he's running it. He'll be running Kamala's as well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and the thing is they aren't even denying that. It's obvious. And he's, everybody has seen this clip of him. I don't remember who was interviewing. I think it was like Stephen Colbert or somebody. At the end of his second term, asked him, would you like to have a third term? And he basically said, well, what I really like is to sit in my den in, t-shirt and boxer shorts and,
Be the puppet.
speak into some guy's earpiece and tell him what to do and say.
He sure did say that.
Yes.
And like, that's Joe Biden. It's certainly Kamala Harris too.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing to remember is, okay, so go back to 2020. Barack Obama is the Democrat Party. Okay, by then, I mean, like, the guy was in total control of the party, and they had 24 candidates in the race, and Bernie Sanders was pretty much going to run away with the nomination. And Obama stepped in, would not, he would not endorse Biden prior to that, but he stepped in and he orchestrated a coup within that party to make Biden the president. And then, of course, when it was time for Biden to pick a VP, it was Kamala Harris, because those were the two most reliable puppets Obama could count on to be on the ticket. And, I have no particular brief for any of Bernie Sanders's problems. Okay. But, if I was the Democrats, I would have screwed Bernie Sanders out of the nomination too. Okay. Like, I thought it was right and proper that they screwed him out of the nomination in 2016.
I agree.
He's a total socialist.
Yeah. But the fact is, the way they did this was, you're the undemocratic party now. Right. And they rigged both the 2020 election. Well, actually, they could say that they rigged the 2016 election. Then they rigged the 2020 election. And look what they just did this time. So you're talking about 3 straight elections that, since Obama left office, that the Democrats have not had, in any real sense, a primary decided by the people, or by their voters, rather. Like, it's been 12 years since the Democrats were able to, Democrat voters were able to pick their candidate. Now, they might have picked Hillary Clinton anyway, but certainly it was the super delegates and the machine within the party that picked Hillary over Bernie Sanders, in a way that they didn't do when Obama was able to beat Hillary in 2008. Since 16, it's 2 elections in a row that they have put their thumb on the scale on the basis of, this is an emergency, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, they're so divorced from free and fair and honest elections at this point that, they really do need a name change as a party. And this is all Obama. It's Obama and it's his minions that populate this administration and will populate the next Democrat administration.
Do you think that's why they're keeping Kamala quiet and out of the press, so she doesn't really expose her Marxist agenda?
If you saw clips from that CNN interview, you saw why. She's not capable of giving honest, unscripted live interviews. She's capable of giving, word slaws rather than actual answers. No, we don't call them word salads anymore. We call them word slaws. And the reason is, to make coleslaw, you run the cabbage through a shredder, which is what Kamala does to the English language. So word slaw is a lot, more accurate. But the point is, she speaks in gibberish.
She does. She does.
She's not capable of talking like a normal human being.
Okay.
About serious issues.
We got to go to another break, Scott. Hold that thought, and we'll be. You listen to Holy Patriotic Jamabaly radio show. Call the At Cost Metals talk line 504-556-9696. We'll be right back.
What does grace mean to you? At Grace at the Green Light, a 501c3 nonprofit, we believe that everyone deserves a hot meal, clean drinking water, and the chance to go home again. Our work is made possible through the generous support of Oxnard Health, Southeast Louisiana's largest nonprofit, multi-specialty healthcare delivery system. Ochsner Health, innovating healthcare. Find out more at ochsner.org.
Hey everybody, this is Mike from the Holy and Patriotic Jambalaya Show. If you need to convert your existing bathtub into a step-in shower, call my friends at A New Beginning Refinishing. They can repair and refinish any type of bathtub or shower, no matter the size of the repair. A New Beginning Refinishing has been using a new high-gloss casting porcelain coating, guaranteed to never peel. They also offer a unique service called the Tub Cut, which is a fraction of the cost of replacement, and adding a grab bar installation and a slip-resistant surface helps to improve accessibility, reduce accidents, and helps people remain in their home as long as possible. Call A New Beginning Refinishing, LLC for a free estimate at 985-279-5103 or visit their website at www.anewbeginningrefinishing.com. Or you can visit their showroom in Hollycrest Plaza at 600 North Highway 190, Suite 2 in Covington. That's A New Beginning Refinishing, LLC at 985-279-5103.
Negative news got you down? Tune in at 4 o'clock on Thursdays and turn your life around. Only good vibes on WGSO 990 AM.
Hello, Christian Patriots. Want to invest in gold and silver at cost? Well, you've come to the right place. At Cost Metals. At costmetals.com. You can purchase gold and silver at much lower prices than the leading metals exchanges. Call 985-469-1188 or email huck@wgso.com or flamingconservative@wgso.com. And right now, At Cost Metals has a new coin, the Trump assassination coin. You do not want to miss this coin. At costmetals.com.
Join me, J.C. Smith, on Stay Safe NOLA, Mondays at 5 p.m. as I discuss crime and how to stay safe in the Crescent City. Stay Safe NOLA, only on WGSO 990 AM.
Hello, this is David Jeremiah. Join me each weekday morning at 5:30 or 6:30 for Turning Point here on Talk Radio 990 AM.
It's pet trendologist Charlotte Reed. Listen to the latest pet trends with benefits on the Pet Buzz, airing every Saturday at 6 p.m. Join me as I talk all things pets, from animal health and wellness, money-saving tips, the newest pet products, celebrity pet gossip, breaking news, and more. Our expert guests are in the know and in the now. To learn more about our unique program, our guest, and me, your host, listen to the show on WGSO 990, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Welcome back to Holy and Patriotic Jambalaya. We are on the phone with Scott McKay. Scott, so tell us a little bit about the underreported government scandal, which you refer to as maybe one of the biggest scandals of American history that's been underreported.
Well, there's several of those, actually. Fast and Furious is one that, it was the first one with Obama. And the level of evil that Fast and Furious encompassed is something that I don't think most people have gotten their heads around.
I don't either.
They basically encouraged the Mexican drug cartel bosses to send straw buyers across the border, buy guns, and then they let them walk across the border, in total violation of American law. And we're talking about hundreds or thousands of guns. These things were all used in the various cartel wars and the sort of bog standard murders that Mexican drug cartels commit on all kinds of different people. Talk about hundreds of thousands of people that got killed as a result of this, including a couple of, I think one was an ICE agent and one was a Border Patrol agent. And then when this gets out, they basically essentially just told everybody to go to hell. Eric Holder stalled, any cooperation with Congress as they were looking into this. He was found in contempt of Congress. The Department of Justice wouldn't prosecute him under that charge. And of course, we've seen in the case of Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon, what can happen to somebody who is found in contempt of Congress. and they basically just buried the scandal. And you want to talk about nobody got killed in Watergate, right? This was you had thousands of people get killed as a result of this thing, and the entire purpose of Fast and Furious was to generate the kind of havoc that would convince the American people to institute gun control. This was not done for the purpose of, trying to catch cartel bosses that we could then turn around and grab them in Mexico and come prosecute them. Nobody was trying to do that. This was all about generating the kind of bad headlines that would enable maybe the public to come around on the issue of the Second Amendment. This was, in other words, they killed Mexicans to try to convince Americans to give up our rights. And you want to tell me about Watergate as a scandal, and then then you get this, and then of course nothing is done over Fast and Furious, and so then you get the IRS scandal, which was the Obama administration's response to the Tea Party movement becoming a thing, right? And it was, well, we're gonna shut down every Tea Party organization of any size by putting them through every IRS audit and adverse proceeding possible. And I mean, they were out in the open about doing this, and nobody did anything about that. And so, from that point on, you had pretty much full-on weaponization of the federal government, that started with the Fast and Furious scandal and then the IRS scandal. And then from there, it was, the Trump-Russia hoax, where, they're essentially weaponizing law enforcement and the intelligence community to, go after Americans with FISA surveillance and other things. And
Scott, let me ask you this.
The Patriot Act against the American people.
And judges as well, weaponizing the judicial system.
Why was Trump impeached for making a phone call to Ukraine about Hunter Biden?
Because he was investigating the Biden's corruption that touched upon corruption that is endemic in the Democrat Party.
Talking about the real quid pro quo, Joe.
Well, I mean, look, Biden gave away the store at the Council on Foreign Relations in June of 2018, I believe it was, when he had that unbelievably stupid quote on that video talking about, how he got the prosecutor fired, right? Biden's a dumb guy. He goes and he says this stuff because he's so proud of himself that, that was a $10 million threat that he made. He and his family got paid $10 million by the folks at Burisma for getting the prosecutor fired.
Right.
And he was so excited that he had done that, and gotten paid for it, that he had to tell somebody.
Yes.
So he goes and he tells it to the Council on Foreign Relations, and all of a sudden everybody realizes, hey, wait a minute, and it was right after that people started realizing that Hunter Biden was on the board of this company they had no business being on the board of, and they started pulling at the threads and finding out that the Bidens were on the take from the Ukrainians.
Mm-hmm.
And, Rudy Giuliani investigated this stuff, and Trump calls Zelensky and says, hey, can you guys cooperate with this investigation that's going on about this? And Zelensky's not going to tell the president of the United States no. And so he says, okay. And all of a sudden, the official Democrat establishment, which is
Nancy Pelosi,
red in tooth and claw with blood money from Ukraine and all these other places, realizes that if Trump gets to the bottom of this, the game is over. And so that's why Trump got impeached.
Plus, Nancy Pelosi, she's been having it out for him.
Well, that's certainly true, but believe me, part of Nancy Pelosi's significant fortune is that she's dipped her beak into this as well. Whether it was in Ukraine or any number of these other scams that these people are running with humanitarian aid and all these other places around the world, that this stuff is run.
Weren't there
And, I
two
mean,
other
this is-
sons on the board? Weren't there two
What's
other
that?
sons? Don't we have two other sons that were on the board?
Well, you had
Paulie
John
Pelosi.
Kerry's
Yes.
son-in-law,
Right.
and I want to say there was Mitt Romney's kid. One of Mitt Romney's kids, I think, might have been on the board of Burisma, or at least they were on the board of that Rosemont Horizon or whatever that investment firm that Hunter Biden was involved with. I mean, like these guys, Republican and Democrat, the Washington, D.C. establishment is very mobbed up in all of these influence peddling schemes that arise out of humanitarian aid. And, of course, all of the ruling elite of all of these Western European countries is involved in this as well. I mean, this stuff has been rancid for a very long time. It's not a well-kept secret in any of these capitals. But, our media is not really willing to report it. And so, you talk about this stuff and you come off like a conspiracy theorist because nobody knows.
And that's why we do what we do. You have one, probably like 30 seconds. Where do we go? Amazon to get your books?
Yeah, check out, just punch my name in at Amazon and you'll find Racism, Revenge, and Ruin. You'll also find King of the Jungle, which is my newest book. It's a novel. It's a political satire that really kind of goes after all these same people. So that's actually really fun reading. The Obama book, you need to know this stuff, but it's not that much fun.
We thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. I'll be
guys,
looking
thanks for
forward
having me.
to having you back on very soon. Okay.
Good thing.
We talk to you next week, and tune into Martha's show on Thursday when Billy Nunn will be her guest.
That's right. This is Holy and Patriotic Jambalaya. The Lord bless you.
God, family, and country in that order.